Coming up on Look Today, a community group meets with EPA officials to discuss the Hudson River dredging project. I've got details. And we have some more details on the Saratoga Springs City Charter review process. More on that coming up. And New York State grants Warren County Sheriff's Department money for video equipment. I've got those details. It's all ahead on Look Today. Welcome everyone, happy Friday. I'm Jay Hood Jackson and this is Look Today. In tonight's program, I sit down with Mayor Joanne Yepsen of Saratoga Springs. She's here to talk about the Saratoga City Charter review process and what that means for the city. I also sit down with Greg Greco. He's a president of the Saratoga Springs Rotary Education Foundation, joined by Don McPherson. He's the secretary for the foundation. They're here to talk about their important work in the community and an event that's happening this weekend. Plus, we've got your weather for the Tri-North counties. But first, these headline stories. In our lead story, the Environmental Protection Agency continues to tackle the PCB pollution in the Hudson River. Now, although it will take decades for the Hudson River to be PCB-free, the water is already showing improvements. The Community Advisory Group meets regularly with EPA representatives to discuss the progress being made. Now, levels of PCBs have been cut in half at sample sites, and the decrease seems to be even more drastic further north. Now, we were at the meeting yesterday where we spoke to Gary Klowinski. He's the director of the Hudson River Field Office for the EPA.
We've completed the dredging last year, and we removed 2.75 million cubic yards of sediment. And now we're moving into the monitoring phase of the project. During the monitoring phase, we'll be collecting fish, sediment, water, and tracking the recovery of the river over time.
Congratulations to everybody for those improvements. That is one heck of a project. In other news, we've got updates on the Saratoga City Charter review process. Now, a commission meets every 10 years to see how the city is functioning under its current government and sees what improvements can be made. Then they make recommendations. Now, this process includes interviewing former and current city officials. Now, according to the chair of the commission, Bob Turner, one challenge is the amount of work and time that is currently expected from officials. Now, a lot, if not all these positions, were supposed to be part-time. Well, we spoke to Mayor Joanne Yepsen of Saratoga Springs about her concerns regarding the review.
So our city charter requires our city to review its charter every 10 years, at least every 10 years. So the last official review that was done through a mayor's commission was in 2006. So I thought it was essential that we put together a review charter commission for this year, which I have done. It began meeting at the end of the summer, and it's going to continue to meet until its job is done.
Now, we also spoke to the mayor about some of the specifics of what she would like to see changed.
The Recreation Department has grown immensely in reality, but is not reflected in the 2001 charter. We're putting a great emphasis on recreation in the city and sports tourism, and have developed a number of other urban parks and waterfront parks. And we feel that that's another important ingredient in city government. So my recommendation is that we have parks and rec all under one department.
Well, switching from news to weather. What about this weather? It's unreal. Well, last night's snowfall saw a considerable amount of damage done to the area, especially in Glens Falls. I got in the car this morning. I could not believe the number of trees down in the city. Now, due to the sheer amount of snow, some trees collapsed. Power lines were down, and some are expected to be without power until Saturday morning. Well, National Grid reported that more than 15,000 customers were without power. Well, temperatures are warming up, believe it or not. So let's see how the weekend is shaping up. For a more detailed look at our weather, we're going to head to the Glens Falls Weather Center for a look at your first weekend forecast. Back to the news. Well, New York State has awarded Warren County Sheriff's Office $5,000 to buy video equipment. Now, the new equipment will be used for conducting interviews at stations. Now, specifically for the stations located in Chester and the one on Route 9. Up next, I sit down with Mayor Joanne Yipson of Saratoga Springs. She's here to talk about the Saratoga City Charter review process and what that means for the city. Plus, I also sit down with Greg Greco. He's a president of the Saratoga Springs Rotary Education Foundation. We're joined by Don McPherson. He's a secretary for the foundation. They're here to talk about their important work in the community and an event that's happening this weekend. But first, if you see news happening, you want to share a story idea, how about join us for an interview and give us a call on the hotline. The number is 798-8000. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Look Today. It's Friday, so I want to thank Jesselyn, Andrew, Drew, Jack and Joel, and Norm for making this program possible each week. Bunch of lookouts I could give you tonight. Just a quick reminder, this weekend there are a lot of activities going on. I want to highlight two of them. The Veterans Ball, which is tomorrow night, Saturday, at the Military Museum in Saratoga. That money goes to help veterans in all kinds of different issues. And the other is the Rotary Education Foundation Lunch. They call it the annual community brunch. That's happening at City Center on Sunday. And again, all those funds go to help various education programs in the community. And just one other lookout. I'm sitting in my office today and a buddy of mine, Tim Sanders, wanders in. This happens to us once in a while. We love local businesses and we love entrepreneurs. And Tim and his wife Heidi really typify that. They own Sanders Meat Market, which is down on Route 50 as you're heading south from Saratoga before you get into Ballston Spa. Have an amazing reputation. I have to confess, I don't eat meat, so I don't know what it is, but they do. I know all of the stuff is just locally grown and just, all that kind of stuff that makes you healthy. And he told me that they're adding baked goods. So not only can you go in there and get dinner, but now you can go in there and get dessert. So I want to thank Tim for stopping in today and saying hello. All right, this weekend on Look TV, there's all kinds of stuff, but tonight we're also broadcasting, once again, the 21st District Congressional Debate. And don't forget, tune in Monday night for the stories that matter to you. Have a safe weekend, everyone.